going on, guys? George here from JD Fitness Training, and on this video I want to talk about 5 mistakes you're probably making on your goals when you want to achieve fat loss or change your body composition to look leaner. So the number 1 mistake I'm going to talk about is training for fat loss specifically. So many times people say to me when their goal is to lose body fat and look leaner, get leaner, they say they're training for fat loss. Now, in the process of training for fat loss, what people generally mean is training lighter weights, higher reps. This is not necessarily training for fat loss specific. There's no such thing as training for fat loss. What you should always be doing, just keep your training the same. So whatever approach you took in order to build muscle, if that worked for you, keep your training precisely the same. If you're new to training and your goal is to basically just lose some body fat, then just go in, train pretty intense, okay, but don't focus on training specifically for fat loss. Essentially, you should be training for muscle gain. Although being on a calorie deficit is near, unless you're like a genetic gifted god, it's pretty much impossible to build muscle while on a deficit. But you should be training pretty damn intense, training heavy, okay, and obviously the fat loss side of things will come from being on a calorie deficit. But when you focus on training on fat loss, you're not necessarily going to get the better results, and 9 times out of 10 you're probably going to end up overtraining yourself, which will then lead you to burning away through muscle tissue. So focus on a diet, on being on a deficit, as opposed to training for fat loss specific. So that's reason number 1. Reason number 2, okay, is prioritizing cardio over weight training. So too many times people will try to prioritize cardio thinking that the only way to lose body fat is doing cardio and then adding the weights on after. Well, let me tell you now, you're going about it the wrong way. Doing too much cardio, you're actually going to tap into your muscle tissue. You're going to get your metabolism to slow down, metabolic adaptation basically. What I suggest is focus on the weight training things. That will help increase metabolism, help increase natural testosterone production, help increase your protein synthesis, which is crucial, okay, and obviously keep your muscles strong and stimulate, create muscle stimulus. So don't prioritize cardio, focus on strength training, and then adding cardio as you need to over time. Reason number 3 is cutting calories too fast, cutting down calories too fast, okay? So if you're finding yourself, or basically let's reword that. On average, you should be aiming to lose anything from a pound to 2 pounds of body weight per week, give or take, okay? So if you're losing more than that, or you find yourself sleepless, strength's going down way too quick, you find your weight going down super quick, chances are your calories are way too low. The best way to avoid this is by tracking your calories, your macronutrient intake daily, and from this it's a lot easier to adjust. So what I'd suggest is, if you're someone that's already fairly advanced in the gym, you should already be tracking your food or have an idea of how much you're eating. So if you don't typically track it, but have an idea of what you eat, start tracking your food, and this will definitely help you in keeping better control of how much you should cut your calories by. If you're new to the gym, then just start making little habits of making notes of the things you eat. So swapping out sugary treat for a piece of fruit, adding in more veg into your diet, and obviously try to get that habit of tracking down your food. Once you start tracking, like I said, it's a lot easier to keep on track of your food. But if you're losing weight too fast and your strength is going down super quick, you find yourself getting real moody, really stressful, and chances are you hit a plateau pretty damn quick, that means your calories are way too low. Okay guys, so reason number 4, and that is focusing way too much on the numbers on the scales. Come on, we're all guilty of this. And this is one thing you need to take into account, that it's not always going to be the case that the scale will go down every single week. And this comes down to various factors: sleep, stress levels, hydration levels, certain things you might have had, you might have had a different meal to usual, which can have an effect on your weight. So if you're scared, if the weight is not going down precisely every week, okay, it's normal. Some weeks you're going to stall a little bit, some weeks you're going to drop down a little bit more. Just keep an eye on this, but don't overstress yourself if the numbers on the scales aren't going down, okay? There's not always a bad thing. Sometimes your body composition will change without the numbers going down drastically like you expect it to. So stop focusing on the number of the scales. Just use it as a guideline, okay? But instead of just using scales, use body measurements, progress photos. This is a great way to track progress, and that's pretty much it for that one. And reason number 5, and probably the most common of them all, and is cheat meals. You don't always need a cheat meal. 9 times out of 10, most people think that when they're in a calorie deficit and dieting for a calorie deficit, they feel like it's necessary to, at the end of the week, add a cheat meal. Now, this isn't always the way to go about it. Let me explain it to you guys. So, let's say you're due to eat 14,000 calories in the space of a week. If you're going to go have a cheat meal on a Saturday, and that's going to bring you over that 14,000 weekly intake, you're going to bring yourself onto a surplus, which means you're probably not going to see results. So if this is the case, and this sounds like you, try cutting out your cheat meal. However, I do recommend, after having dieted on a calorie deficit for a certain period of time, diet breaks are 100% recommended. This will help you both emotionally, help your stress levels, it'll help your body recover. Being on a deficit is hard. It takes its toll on the body. So adding in a diet break, and this basically means having a day or 2 days, or sometimes even a week, okay, where you bring your calories back to maintenance, or maybe you reduce your cardio a little bit, if you're doing plenty of cardio on your deficit, and just this gives your body a break from a diet without breaking barriers and going on a calorie surplus again. So this will just basically maintain your weight. You might put on a pound or two, but don't panic too much, okay? If you've been dieting for long periods of time and you find yourself demotivated, your sleep is bad, your strength in the gym is going way too quick, and you just feel like mentally you're not there, then I'd suggest taking a diet break. So these are my top 5 mistakes that most people make. I hope it has helped you and it has been of value to you. Subscribe down below to get more tips like this.